another day in the EuroLeague's office. Although this one was a different day in the EuroLeague's office because they changed the All-EuroLeague team selection system. Previously, you all remember us complaining all the time that this whole voting was happening during the playoffs. We weren't sure what to include. Should we make those selections based on the regular season performance, or should we wait for the playoffs to conclude? But if that's the case, why everybody else is already voting? So it was, very problematic thing, and EuroLeague made it right. Finally, we have this clear voting system. The votes opened on March 31st and will run through April 14, right after the regular season will be concluded and before the play-in and the playoffs, which is good. They once again emphasize that we will have to make those selections based on the regular season performance. This season, the media vote will account for 20%. Of the final votes. The vote of the head coaches and team captains will each make up 35% of the total, while fan selection will be worth 10%.
What's the 20%? The first 20%?
Media.
Oh, media. Okay.
35 coaches, 35 players, and 10% fans.
The player with the most votes will become this season's EuroLeague MVP.
Oh.
He and the next 4 top vote getters will will make the All-EuroLeague first team, and the next 5 will make the All-EuroLeague second team. So this is a positionless voting.
It kind of makes sense because you take away a lot of thinking. You just say, okay, who were the 5 best players? And naturally, the guy with the most votes will be the top guy, right? But do you guys think, because how they have been looking at it for the last, I don't know, however many years, unless this changes, do you think the fact where the team is in the standings will play the biggest part here? Because I remember last year when we were all shocked by the second team. Maybe the first team was all right, but the second team we were like,
what's random?
What's happening here? Where are these? I don't remember exactly who was balling out and was missing from that list, but I remember there were like 3 or 4 people we wanted to replace from the second team.
Yeah.
So, and that's because they've been looking at the standings a lot. So I feel like today what we're gonna do is look at our selections. We're gonna each present what we would vote for in our top 5 all EuroLeague team, and then see what happens and give some arguments.
I have a question on that voting. Do you have, like, when you're choosing the first team, right? Do you have to put players in a random order, just 5 players, or do you have to assign a place? Because
I think it's random. I've done it. I've done the voting.
It's like, it doesn't matter if you put the player in the second spot or in the 5th spot, right?
It's just a vote.
Just 5 votes. Okay, it's going to be interesting because I see like 4 players that are kind of locks for the first team in the season.
I think we all will.
I would be shocked if we don't have the same 4 players.
Yeah.
Like the 5th player, I think will defer.
We'll
but the first 4 is kind of locks. I think these guys are competing for the MVP race.
Before we go with our picks, I've just selected 5 random guys. You have to pick one MVP. Like if I think that Nadir Hifi is the MVP, I just
you have to select
him,
the MVP,
and that's it. I'm sending the vote.
Okay.
But the problem that I see with this system is, again, that I believe that EuroLeague could have done a better job of this one, because, for instance, I see the fan voting results, the current results. Kendrick Nunn leads the vote. Sasha Vezenko 2nd, TJ Shorts 3rd, Juancho Hernan Gomez 4th, Hayes Davis 5th, Jarian Grant 6th, Lucas 7th, and Matthias Lazort 8th.
Yeah, that's one of the points I was going to make.
But Matthias Lazort played 17 games this season.
And he got injured in the 17th.
I think that Matthias Lazort, when he's healthy, he's the best EuroLeague center. That's for sure. But I think that there should be
like eligibility from certain games?
A minimum percentage of the regular season games to be eligible, like they do in the NBA. You have to play 65 NBA regular season games.
Like they've started
which is 79%.
Yeah.
And even if you kind of see some sense with Lazor there's no chance that Daniel Tice is eligible for the voting. He played 6 EuroLeague games. You can pick Isaiah Wong to the All-EuroLeague team, who also played just, few games. It doesn't make any sense to me.
But
from that standpoint,
there's a reason why there's 10% only for the fans. Of course, your point was more
as a
about...
media member, I can do the same.
I understand. So that's another thing that I wasn't going to talk about that, but I understand your point. You shouldn't have players with barely any games on their resume this season. But another point to make about fan voting: 5 out of top 10 players are PAOS players. I mean, that's also saying a lot. And that's why I think it makes perfect sense to have only 10% of the weight of the full vote for the fans, because they're just going to massively vote their favorite team's players.
It was higher last season, right? The fan vote percentage.
I don't think so. It was always quite low.
Okay, let's go with the teams.
Sure.
Yep.
So
first team,
4, like you said, 4 probably locks, and then 1 we'll see.
Sasha Vezenkov is a lock.
Yeah,
for sure. Do we need to say anything?
I think, guys, let's not talk about the first team as much as the other guys that won't make this, because think about it. We've talked about these guys in our MVP discussions just recently. I feel like we're just going to keep repeating ourselves how great these players are. I feel like Sasha Vezenkov, no-brainer. No need to comment much more, unless Donatas, you want to say something about Sasha.
I want to say something. I want to celebrate the greatness.
Of course.
The guy leads the EuroLeague in scoring in the second part of this season, 21.7 points per game, shooting 69% from 2, 45% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. His scoring average improved by 2.6 points compared to his MVP season 2 years ago, where we celebrated him as this amazing unicorn player in the EuroLeague that we had. So he stands at 20.2 points per game this season in general. With him on the floor, Olympiacos outscores their opponents by 11.2 points per 100 possessions. Their offense improved by 13.2 points per 100 possessions. And it's not like that, he's being replaced by some random guys. Alec Peters, who had a great season last year, and just this rotation that Olympiacos have. So, I mean, to me, that's just insane, the season that Sasha Vezenkov is having. And I think that it's even a little bit underrated how good he is compared to the spotlight that he received 2 years ago.
I have a question for you. Is he your MVP? Because I think we have to talk about the first team and also say who is our MVP. Is he your MVP?
2 weeks ago, he was my MVP. Now, with Olympiacos not being first anymore?
That's the thing. First of all, I'm making my picks based on round 32 results. And to me, the regular season standings is super important. That's why I'm going to send my vote from the media perspective just after regular season concludes, because I respect a lot the final results. And if TJ Shorts leads Paris basketball to the playoffs, then he is my MVP. But if he is out of the play-in,
he's not going to be out of the play-in.
Hopefully. So I cannot go with him as my MVP selection.
I don't know. My mom is my MVP, so she's the true MVP. Okay, go on, August. Sorry.
No, I just want to say that TJ...
I love you, Gits.
TJ should be the MVP. TJ should be the MVP even if they're like 6th, 7th, or 8th. I don't think those couple of wins changed that much because... I mean, if you compare...
What if they finish out of top 10?
Exactly.
They won't. But what if? They still can.
Okay. Possibility.
There is a chance.
If they're out of
this
the play,
is the EuroLeague.
If they're out of the play-in, let me say that. If they're out of the play-in, then not just because they're not of the play-in, not because of how he plays. But if they are in the playoffs, he should be the MVP. Over Kendrick Nunn and over Sasha Vezenkov. Because without him, that Paris team is... with all due respect to other players, their system, their coaching, everything is great there. But without TJ, that team is not in the place they are right now. He scores or creates. He creates in total almost 37 points in the EuroLeague. That's like 7 points more than the second place, and second place is Kendrick Nunn. So that's the difference between first and second place is crazy. His impact to Paris success, the numbers, the videotape, what you see from him, he has just been so much better than everybody else. And it's like, hey, but they punish him defensively. They really don't. They really don't. And a lot of coaches have said that. So it's really crazy what he has done. And if they manage somehow to win the Real Madrid game and Alba at home, I think he deserves the MVP this season.
You guys are saying deserves. Do you guys actually believe it's any? Is it realistic in your eyes whatsoever that he would win the MVP? Even if they win the last two games against Alba and Real and they are sixth or whatever. I mean, it's realistic.
If they win the next two games, they're probably fifth or sixth, and I think that makes it realistic. Like if Pau lose. Pau can easily lose to Monaco, and I think they do this week. So the difference in the winning column would be like just one game between Pau and I don't know about what happened with Olympiacos. I mean, it is possible, but just because those two teams are from the Greek market.
I just think honestly, Sasha Vezenkov's played too well. You said everything about him, and I think they're gonna win the last two games because they're against Alba and Maccabi, and they'll be a bounce back from those 3 losses in a row. 24 wins, top of the standings, and hello, Sasha Vezenkov. Welcome back to the EuroLeague as the MVP.
2 questions. So, if Paris are in the play-in but they're not making the playoffs, do we still count him as the MVP?
I mean,
and it's a bit problematic because the vote concludes before the play-in.
The voting finishes before the play-in, so it's the regular season.
It's also about how do I put this? It is also not in our hands. We can consider him or not consider him, or whether he deserves or not. It's gonna be those voting.
No, but forget the vote. Let's say we decide. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing with this one?
If he's in the 10th seed of a EuroLeague club, in the 10th seed, I don't think that they deserve it.
But is it like the 10th seed? It's like a lot of teams have the same number of wins.
That's the thing. Okay, the head-to-head advantage, the tiebreakers, they matter. But in the full picture, what's the actual difference between the 10th seed and the 6th seed, which is FS,
currently
with the same winning record?
Currently
so if the vote concludes before the play-in, that means that I have Paris in the playoff picture and problem making him my MVP.
But I'm making him my MVP too.
I'm just saying that I feel like it's going to be one of the top 3 teams that's going to have the MVP there. I just think that's how it's been mostly since forever.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, but that's how it goes. But I'm saying what I would want to see, how I would do. Like, how would you feel about it?
I got you.
Just because points created. TJ Shorts 36.8, Kendrick Nunn 29.6, Sasha Vezenkov. We are talking about his scoring, but he doesn't create for others. 24.4 points scored and created. So that like 12 points more TJ Shorts. Impact to Paris' success, like per 100 possessions, Paris is better by 20 points with TJ Shorts on the court to compare when he is not. So it's not only about like Sasha Vezenkov phenomenal this season, but I think like valuable player, TJ Shorts is the number one player to talk about here.
Second question. So do we pick? Let's say TJ Shorts is out of the playoffs. Do we pick Sasha Vezenkov over Kendrick Nunn?
I would. I would pick the player whose team is higher in the standings, because I feel like they're both are equal candidates at the MVP. I don't see which
I'm just
one's
thinking,
better.
is that fair? Because I consider Panathinaikos having way more injury issues when Olympiacos had.
I mean, Olympiacos fans would disagree.
I mean, they're losing the best center in the EuroLeague.
And the second best.
And
I mean,
they're
the not the second best, but the backup center.
So it's not like Olympiacos lost, I don't know,
Vezenkov
of Fornia.
Yeah, but they had a lot of injuries too this season.
True. But if you compare the significance of the injury, it's really hard to match Lazor's injury.
But Kendrick Nunn impact is bigger than
Exactly.
Sasha's.
He's creating. He's second in points created. He's a top scorer in the EuroLeague.
I guess.
Second best. Yeah, I mentioned that. Panathinaikos is plus 8.5 per 100 possessions when he plays. He improves Power's offense by 13.1 points per 100 possessions, actually. Team's efficiency offensively rises by 6 percentage from 2 and 6 percentage from 3. He's efficient scorer, 60% from 2, 40% from 3. Top scorer in 4 quarters as well on a crazy efficiency as well, 61% from 2, 38 from 3. Second in 3-pointers made. He's big for Pau.
I just realized we're having Jokic versus SGA kind of a MVP race. It's either Nunn or Vezenkov, a guy who's in a winning team and scoring more, or a guy who's more efficient. Let's call it. But that's just an analogy that we have in both of these leagues. These kind of tight MVP races. Interesting. Anyways,
so what's the answer?
The answer for me?
The answer is to wait 2 more games.
Why we're picking Vezenkov over Nunn?
I'm not picking.
I don't know, man.
I said 2 weeks ago I would pick Kendrick Nunn over Vezenkov.
Because you can play this, if you take this from that team and if you take this player from that team, we actually had this thing last season. Panathinaikos without Kendrick Nunn and Olympiacos without Sasha Vezenkov.
Mm-hmm. So Olympiacos were much better without Vezenkov than Nunn.
True.
Yeah, so, okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
True.
So
if not,
what you're
TG
saying,
Shores,
Alec Peters can step into Vezenkov's shoes and it won't be a tragedy. But if you take out Nunn, then Pau, we don't know what would happen.
Olympiacos' system in general, basketball philosophy, was covering his absence.
Yeah.
And with Panathinaikos, you cannot do the same.
Okay, you changed my mind.
I'm
Kendrick
picking
Nunn is the
Kendrick Nunn as the MVP if TG Shores is out of the
MVP.
playoffs.
Is the EuroLeague
Bravo.
MVP.
Bravo.
Thank you. No worries.
If Paris are not in the playoffs.
Exactly, sure.
Okay, guys, so we agree on 4 names as I understand from all these stuff. On 3 so far.
3 guys.
Shorts, Nunn, and Vezenkov. The next 2 guys.
Hayes Davis, for sure.
Must be. Nigel.
True.
The best two-way player probably in the EuroLeague.
The best two-way player on this All-EuroLeague team as well.
So, is there anything else to say? I mean, Fener is number 1, number 2. Let's
Number
see
1 currently.
And given the issues that they had, this is crazy. They can still finish as a number 1 seed in the EuroLeague with these problems, with Baldwin in and out, with all these roster changes that they had, centers situation, Skylar Mays in and out. I mean, that's crazy. That's underrated as well.
So we all agree on him.
For sure.
Right?
True.
And the 5th guy on the first team, that was tricky to me. That was tricky. I don't know what you picked, but I gave, the surprise of the season. Bayern München, I gave them the spot. I think Carson Edwards. I love to see surprises getting rewarded. Somebody from Bayern had to be on a team. And I was looking at all the numbers. I was looking at situations of the standings. I've always said that I don't believe Bayern can keep up their winning streak this season. But hey, they just did. They're in the 5th spot. So I think Carson Edwards, if not on the first team, I probably think a lot of fans would disagree. But I think he deserves to be on a first or second team. He's on my first team. What's your pick, guys?
I'm a simple guy. I see an overachiever in the EuroLeague. I see that they have a clear leader, so I also put Carson Edwards in my All-EuroLeague team. Okay. I mean, it was too easy. He's the 3rd top scorer in the league. He's top 5 in points created through scoring and assisting. He basically, makes this top 4 offense in the league, as Bayern Munich is, to be that great. He's the main motor, although they have all the other great things in the team, but I think it's a different team when Carson Edwards is on the floor.
I know it would be easier for me to make this argument for the player I'm going to just name in a second. A few weeks ago, when Milano still had better chances of making the play-in. Now it seems like there's kind of slim chances to get onto that train, so I know it will sound a bit like I'm forcing it in here, but just to make it a bit more interesting, I still can't ignore Nikola Mirotic's best season since coming back from the NBA. Statistically speaking, 18 points and 22 PIR. I feel like he's just had too good of an individual season to ignore it, and the same arguments we made about, so what that Paris is 10th, they have the same amount of wins as Anadolu Efes, but same way Armani Milan has 16 wins, is 2 wins away from being in that play-in, so I'll just use that argument. I know it's a harder argument to make than Carson Edwards, but I just chose a different guy, I guess.
I'm not mad at that choice.
Yeah.
Do you have any other honorable mentions that will probably make the second team then?
We basically made all EuroLeague second team with Augustus. So we did it different when the EuroLeague voting system. We didn't pick just 5 guys.
Yeah.
We picked 5 for the first team and for the second team.
Okay,
So I actually have Mirotic on the second team.
In the second team, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Milano still had chances because of the regular season he has put up. All depended on him and Lide, and he responded, playing 5 and a lot of playing 4 and a lot of 5 because of Josh Nebo's long-term injury. So he's on my second team. Donatas, you also had him on the second team, so I think we can go with other names. I have Facundo Campazzo.
I'll just say that I do have Carson Edwards in my second team. Since we already spoke about him, I'm just saying I do have him on there as well.
I have Facundo Campazzo in my second team. Real Madrid, underperformed this season, but he was the only consistent player in Real Madrid, the engine of the team. If he's not there, that team is way, way below in the standings. And, offensively, defensively, his impact is enormous. If you want some numbers, their offense is 15 points better with him on the court in 100 possessions. That's better than 98% of players in the EuroLeague. So they're in the playoff mix. I have him in my second team.
I just couldn't include a guy with 12.5 point average. I know,
but he's not about scoring.
I know, but he used to. The last season, how he started was sick. Like he was crazy fantasy player. Currently,
let's check how many points he averaged last season.
I'm sure it's gonna be less. It's gonna be more than now, but not by a lot. But anyways, I just couldn't. I don't know. For me, 12.5 points. I understand it's not his main value that he brings in. It's also the playmaking, but in general, Real Madrid's been so disappointing to me that I didn't want to include anyone from there, and I went with the Barcelona player Kevin Punter. So
Facundo Campazzo last season averaged 11.5.
Really?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
6.5.
I really thought he did have a higher average.
Why did you pick KP though?
Because I think he's in a team that will make the playoffs. I think it's very unlikely they'll drop. They'll drop down, that they are out of the playoff picture, and I also think he's having one of his best career seasons so far.
Actually, he's having career high in scoring.
Yeah,
17
yeah,
points.
so then you could say
points.
it's a career best season. And second, or the third and last argument is, without him, Barcelona just looks, very bad. We've seen some games, and offensively, without La Provitola and him, it's just there's no offense going on. So that's why Kevin Punter is too important for that team.
That's why I actually exactly the importance to his team. If Barca doesn't have him, they're not that relevant. I think that they don't have any chances in the playoffs without him. And he gives that scoring punch that they needed last year in the playoff series against Olympiacos. And I think that he makes them dangerous and entertaining, as we mentioned earlier, and sexy to watch. And yeah, he's not just scoring as crazy, but he's super efficient. 54% from 2, 41% from 3, 94% from the free throw line, 3.1 assists per game, which is also his career high. But this Barcelona thing, he's bringing something extra to the team, made me pick him rather than Elijah Bryant, that I also had on my radar. because Elijah Bryant is also having a crazy season. He's very versatile in both scoring, creating forevers, rebounding and stuff. I think that he's the single EuroLeague player who's averaging 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, something like that. Smart guy, high IQ player. It's a pleasure to watch him, and I think that every title contender should go after him because he's on an expiring contract. But this, I can't imagine FS without Elijah Bryant. There is Shane Larkin. There is Vincent Poirier, Darius Thompson, Rodrigo Boba. I would see them more relevant than Barca without KP.
Yeah.
Thanks for actually, making an introduction for my selection. I selected Elijah instead of KP just because he's like Nigel Hayes-Davis on that first team. He's offense plus defense. Spectacular growth by him this season, and you said that you can't imagine FS without Elijah Bryant. I couldn't imagine FS that high up without Elijah Bryant because I don't know who would defend there if he's not setting up the example he's showing. So I have Bryant on my second team from FS.
Okay.
Well, I know it's probably a bit hard to follow our format of this discussion because we just keep jumping from name to name. Now I'll throw in a name that nobody's mentioned so far, Mike James. I feel like you just have to pick someone from a top 3 team in the EuroLeague standings, and
I have him.
from the whole list of players.
And not just because his team is good, he's also great.
He's great, or is he good?
He's
season?
great, just not at the MVP level.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the injury and the surgery that he had and he's coming off.
Yeah.
So,
but anyways, obviously still the leader of the team.
And the reason why he's on the second team is also based on the fact that we have those amazing guards on overperforming teams, such as TJ Shorts and Carson Edwards.
That's true. We used to some usual suspects usually in our top 5 players, but yeah, now we have some new guys coming in. But anyways, the only counter argument probably to pick someone else from Monaco would be if Daniel Theis played a bit more than 6 games, because currently he's actually leading the Monaco in PIR. He has 14 point and 6.5 rebound average, 1 block per game. His influence is very clear on the court, and I feel like over a longer period of time, maybe next season, he might even make a second EuroLeague team if he keeps playing the way he has been. We'll see actually in the playoffs. It'll be very interesting to see what Daniel Theis will see. But if he doesn't come back to the NBA before next season even starts. But I feel like that's the only other name you can look in Monaco's roster, but just a small sample size. Any other names we haven't mentioned? Because I have 2 more.
I have 1 more, so you go, guys.
I have Evan Fournier.
Yep. That's one
I think he was dominant.
Evan Fournier?
Yeah.
On the second team?
Yeah. Why not? I think he was great. He had those clutch moments. He overachieved in terms of what kind of perspective we had on his season. I mean,
Was he efficient?
I mean, I
doesn't
think
matter.
he was
Sometimes you need a guy
efficient.
to make a shot, and he's the guy to make the shot. Sometimes you need a guy to take the ball and make a shot in the clutch.
I know. He was important for sure. He made some great shots.
And statistically, I mean, efficiency, sure, maybe it's not his best quality.
I
numbers.
just looked at his numbers, percentages, and I looked at his defense on tape, and that wasn't good for the second team to me.
To be fair, numbers have gone down in the recent stretch now.
But still, it's 15.5 points per game, 47% from 2, 36% from 3, 2.6 assists.
In the last 5 games, he out of those 5 games, 4 games, he didn't even reach a double digits in scoring. So not the greatest shape.
He had a
great game before against Aswell, 25 points, sure, but
he had a great stretch of the season, that's for sure. Yeah. And he's been, it's a good season for him. But I really never thought about him like for the second team.
Okay.
So that kind of surprised me that you.
To me, actually, it was a no-brainer. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. He was super important for Olympiacos, that's for sure. I expected that, but it wasn't like I don't know. And his performance on the defensive side might have stopped me for putting him in the second team. Like he was my third team probably.
So is there another name that's missing for you? There must be one because you didn't have Fournier.
I picked Theo Maledon. I rewarded him. Just the biggest surprise if we're talking about players. Number 4 in points, plus assists. True shooting is amazing. 64% true shooting. That's way better. I don't know Fournier's true shooting right now, but that definitely should not be like at around 64%. Just he was a threat all season long. He made Asvel relevant, and I don't know. So I was like, he deserved second team to me, despite that they did not make the playoffs. That's my last name.
I looked at teams that are gonna either make the play-in or the playoffs, and I feel like Crvena Zvezda would be completely different if Olympiacos didn't give them or loan them or trade them or whatever it's called, Filip Petrushev. And I feel like his influence is very big in that team. And that's why I picked him as my last guy to mention in this whole conversation. Of course, it's interesting that, he's not even the most efficient guy in his own team because of Joel Bolomboy, who's leading the league in the rebounding department, which is putting that PIR up. But even more so, I wouldn't want to put Joel Bolomboy as the guy to put in this conversation because he's scoring only 10 points a game. A defensive-minded player, usually, like we said, with the contracts, doesn't make the top 10 list. So same way, I wouldn't make the top 10 list with Joel Bolomboy in it just because I feel like Petrushev is just more in the spotlight.
I don't know. I really think that Joel Bolomboy was the most impactful Zvezda player this season. The problem with Bolomboy to me in this all-team selection was his ineligibility for the selection, actually, because he played, as you mentioned, 17 games?
18.
Right? 18 games. Like Matthias Lazord. And that was my problem with centers, because my top 3 picks in the center position didn't meet my requirements for the minimum number of games. I had Matthias Lazord, Joel Bolomboy, and Devin Booker. Booker actually played 70% of the regular season games, but the fact is that he didn't play since February. And if you count like February, March, beginning of April, that's a large chunk of the season. So I thought that if the NBA made this standard, minimum 79% with 82 regular season games, I cannot go below that. So
how many games does that mean? 80% of the games of 34 games, how much is that? 27 or 8. I don't remember the exact number. But I picked a single center on my All-EuroLeague teams. Who is Eddie Tavares.
Yeah, he's got to be here.
I just couldn't ignore his dominance.
Yep.
Not just 10.3 points, 7 rebounds, 1.4 blocked shots per game, but Real Madrid is plus 15 with Eddie Tavares per 100 possessions when he's on the floor. Madrid's offense improved by 14 points, second only behind Campazzo, who is the offensive genius. Defense improves almost by 13 points. And it's not like liabilities coming off the bench are replacing him on the court. They have good defenders at this position. So he's first in points of screen, points scored after his screens, leading the EuroLeague in block shots, second in offensive boards, creating second most second chances. So, I couldn't ignore that and put him in my second team.
Yeah, he was the first name off the list, and I could easily change him in my second team with Maledon or Elijah Bryant or Mirotic, and I would be really happy with my second team as well.
Should we just list our first and second team to make it clear? Okay, so I'll start with my first team: TJ Shorts, Kendrick Nunn, Nigel Hayes-Davis, Sasha Vezenkov, and Nikola Mirotic. As you see, missing a center, but 3 forwards, whatever. And then the second team would be Kevin Punter, Carson Edwards, Mike James, Evan Fournier, and Filip Petrushev. So I got 4 guards and 1 forward in the second team.
Okay, so I have TJ Shorts, Kendrick Nunn, Carson Edwards, Nigel Hayes-Davis, and Sasha Vezenkov in my first team. And then Mike James, Kevin Punter, Evan Fournier, Nikola Mirotic, and Eddie Tavares on a second team.
I got TJ, Nunn, Hayes-Davis, Sasha Vezenkov, Edwards in the first team, and Mike, Campazzo, Elijah Bryant, Mirotic, and Maledon in the second team.
I think it's all fair selections. There's arguments for either of these guys.
Yep.